Hello, buddy, what's up? My name's JackCat45 here, and today I'm back with yet another video. Today, this is it's more of a review, but it's also like the fact that, hey, look, I picked up a Game Boy Advance SP. And, so yeah, I don't know if this is a custom shell or not. I don't think it is. I haven't looked it up yet, but I picked this sucker up for about for $85, which is, slightly pricey given the fact that it's a Game Boy Advance SP. I could have found one for cheaper, but it's basically in brand new condition. Like, if you told me that somebody just took it out of the box and didn't play it, I would believe you, because it literally looks that good. It doesn't look like anybody played like anything on it at all. Other than like there's dust in the ports, but I'm not super worried about that. But yeah, this is honestly a good looking Game Boy Advance SP, which is kind of another reason why I think it might be a custom shell on it, but I don't know. But if you do know, I guess comment that. But probably after this video, I'm gonna look it up and see if this is an actual one. But it does have the official Nintendo logo there, which you can't really see, but it is there. So hopefully, that might mean jack squat, but hopefully this is an actual real Game Boy Advance SP. But yes, I did get that along with Pokemon Ruby with it, so there you go. Let's go ahead and, I guess, jump right into the review part then. So, yeah. So, at the top, there's not much, obviously. It's just kind of the top lid, unless you have a cool design like I do, which in case you have Mario or SpongeBob or Pikachu, whatever the one you have. This one is Mario, some have nothing. Ooh, boring. Yeah, so, anyways, in the front is where your Game Boy games, or Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games go, both, and color, whatever. You can play them all. That's where they go, right there in the front this time. On the side, we do have the power switch, which you can turn it on even if it's shut, because unlike, if you're familiar with the DS, if you have it up and then put it down, it puts it in sleep mode. This doesn't have a sleep mode, so if you're playing a game and you put it down, it's not going to pause. Funny story. So, that is kind of one of the more something on the downside in my opinion, but they make sense. I'm not super worried about it. And then actually, if we go over to the other side, we just have the volume slider, so that's cool. And then if we go to the back here, you got your left and right bumpers, which are now really small compared to the Game Boy Advance. You got your two little things where you can clip accessories in. But now if you'll notice, there are two ports. This is the Game Boy Advance port right there, while this is the charging port, because this is the first Game Boy, and this was basically the first and the first out of the two Game Boys that actually supported a charging or chargeable battery inside. I know you could use rechargeable batteries in your other Game Boys and then buy an AC adapter separately, but that's no fun. So yeah, that's why there are two ports in the back, actually. And then at the bottom, it's just your good old sticker. And that's another reason why I think it's an original, is because it's got the sticker and all of these stuff. So I think this actually is an original. This guy says Game Boy, and then if you unscrew that, that's where the battery is. So if your battery becomes flat over time because of all your charges and uses and stuff, you can charge her up. This is what the charger looks like, except for this one's off-brand, so it doesn't exactly look. It's pretty much identical. See, there's no Nintendo logo there, which you probably can't read. Of course you can't read it. It's not there. But yeah, this is what it looks like. You do the funny swing out thing, and then there's this, which is the plug-in, which, if this looks familiar to you, that's probably because you had a Game Boy Advance SP or an original DS. Yes, the original DS used that as well. So not only is this thing rocking a new battery, but it's rocking a whole new format too. So you have your screen at the top here, which may be what inspired the DS. Who knows? Along with your A/B button, and your D-pad, and your start select, and then your speakers right here, which is kind of nice. That's like shooting right at you, but I guess every Game Boy in existence does that. So for the Pocket, maybe, I don't know. But there's another button here. What could that button do? Oh, let's see about like one of the key features of the Game Boy Advance SP. So there's no game, but it'll at least do this. But as you can see the screen. Oh wait, did it just get brighter? Yeah, that's right. The Game Boy Advance SP actually has a backlit screen for once, and I'm not joking. Let me turn off all my lights. And cut and wait for it. Look, I don't lie to you, it's actually backlit. So, which is very nice because we needed a Game Boy that actually had a backlit screen because you could not see all the other ones. So if you were thinking about playing when it got dark out, good luck to you, buddy. But yeah, so that is basically the key feature of this thing, and it's awesome because now you can play anytime you want, unless of course you don't have any battery. But that's really the big. Okay. Well, there's a ton of features that honestly I think make the Game Boy Advance SP significantly better than the Game Boy Advance and every Game Boy before it as well. And that's because, for once, it's a portable console, and this one is the most portable other than the Micro, but who wants to play on a screen the size of your fingernail? So this is honestly probably the best of all your Game Boys. The only thing is there's no headphone jack, so if you have the iPhone, if you're using any sort of new iPhone, this shouldn't be a problem. But there is no headphone jack. So if you do want to use headphones, you're out of luck, especially because no Bluetooth. So you're just SOL on that one. But yeah, other than that, honestly, this thing, the reason it's superior is, like I said, it's the most portable because they made it so it closes, so it's like automatically half the size. It's a ton more compact, obviously, but it has the backlit screen, so you can actually see and play whenever. So if you're on a long road trip and it starts to become dark out, you're fine. Or if you live where I do and it gets dark at 2 in the freaking afternoon, then it's fine anyways. And then, oh man, what else is good? There's some other good stuff that I'm totally forgetting. Oh yeah, it's rechargeable battery, which is definitely a benefit. However, running off of AA's or AAA's, depending on what Game Boy you have, most of them use AA's though. It's not a super big problem. Just have backup batteries. But nowadays, with the types of batteries and like how good the batteries are nowadays, you can get some pretty good battery life out of those anyways. So the only really benefit is that this is rechargeable. And the battery actually doesn't last as long as if you had AA's and stuff because the technology's gotten a ton better. And so yeah, anyways, but it's nice to recharge it. Personally, I think I'd rather have that than go through batteries, but really either way doesn't matter to me. But that, I think, in my opinion, that is a benefit, that you don't have to go buy batteries, that it just has a battery built in. And so yeah. Now, moving on to the cartridge. Most of them are black, but this one is red because it's Pokemon Ruby. If you had Pokemon Sapphire, I believe, it was blue. They made a ton of Game Boy Advance Pokemon games. But yeah, so as you notice, this is also like half the size of a normal Game Boy game. So luckily, I have one, which is also another Pokemon game. But yeah, it's like half the size of your average Game Boy / Game Boy Color game, which is nice because for the size of the Game Boy Advance, because now look at that. That is beautiful, right? It's small, it fits nicely. However, the only downside to this is now if you want to play an original Game Boy game, your cartridge sticks out about like, you know, a football field, so that's nice. Honestly, it's not terrible. My hands don't really rest there when I'm playing anyways, so I'm not, you know, it's slightly more uncomfortable, but it's not like uncomfortable enough that I don't want to play Game Boy games on it. But it is, you know, kind of, especially if other people are looking at it, like, that's really odd. See, this looks a ton more beautiful, and now you can just kind of chug away and have fun. So, that is kind of the only downside, but that's just a flaw with the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advances, because even the original one stuck out just as far, because again, if you made it any deeper, you couldn't get this cartridge in. So that's just a flaw with the Game Boy Advances, and it's kind of not really Nintendo's fault. In my opinion, it's not really. It's more of just the fact of how the technology kind of advanced, I guess, and that the fact that these were a ton bigger, and because these ones were smaller, they couldn't make it any lower, because then you can play the actual Game Boy Advance games. So, yeah. But at least with the Game Boy Advance, instead of the Game Boy Advance SP, it was at least at the top, so it would stick out the top, and it looked arguably more dumber, but at least then, you know, it wasn't like bumping in your way if it was like it was down here. But overall, I think this is a superior model to the older one, which I will be doing a review over, or a comparison between the two. But really, with this sacrifices is the AA battery function, if that was really your thing, which I think for most people are fine with the rechargeable one inside, and that the cartridge's Game Boy games now stick about that far out, which is, you know, something to consider, unless you had and then because the old one, it just went out the top, so it didn't really bother you too much. Another thing is these shoulder buttons are tiny, but that doesn't really bother me. For some people it does. I don't mind it. But yeah, overall, I think this was definitely a improvement to literally any other Game Boy. I think this is definitely my favorite Game Boy, and I'm pretty sure most people will agree. But yeah. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Say goodbye to Mario.